Peace and love. This is Brother Faheem, and you are now tuned into the Lead with Logic podcast. You know the vibes. Peace and love. Peace and love. Welcome back to another episode of the Lead with Logic podcast. I am your most gracious and humble host, Brother Faheem. Listen, thank you for tuning in, whether you're watching live or whether you were watching it on playback or rerun. Man, I appreciate you. Look, life always moves at such a fast pace, electromagnetic pace. And I just try to keep my boots laced so that I can always be in a position to win the race, at least get ahead, right? Man, so much going on in the world today. So much going on in the world today. I uh I wanted to come and talk to you guys about it. What is going on, man? We've had so much to happen in the last week or so. I saw where we had the president, the newly elected president, President Donald Trump. He spoke to Congress, and it was quite the festive engagement. Yeah, it was quite the festive engagement. A lot of people, ooh, they had a whole bunch to say, and it was crazy. It was very crazy. But more recently, what I've seen, what I want to talk to you about is some things in pop culture. Let me explain something for those of you guys who are watching this brand new or your first time. You know, what I do is I take the controversial, the mundane, and the sensational, and through objective data, right? Peer-reviewed journals, articles, books. What do you say? Peer, interviews, documentary clips. I take all of these things so that I can now extract the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, so that people can now uh, live life in 3D and also enhance their enlightenment. Right? That's what I do here, and so yeah. Leave of Logic is an acronym. It's an acronym that stands for letting enlightenment and divinity win in this harsh level of God's infinite creation. Y'all forgive me, I was running behind today. So I'm kind of trying to get this stuff together. But letting enlightenment and divinity win in this harsh level of God's infinite creation, right? That's what Lead with Logic stands for. If you go to Lead with Logic 7, right? Leadwithlogic7.com, you will be able to get some nice gear. Support the brand, man. Support your brother, man, before you go to the other man. We got we got tees, we got hats, we got hoodies. Typically, I have something on to let you guys see what we're doing in the logical space, right? So yes, every Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I was a little bit late today, and typically, like I said, we go over a few things, man. We go over things that are pretty much resonating in the community. And what I do is not even try to break it down so that people can understand. Listen, wherever you are, if you're on Facebook, please repost. If you are on YouTube, if you're watching on YouTube, you can join in and grab a friend. Listen, post it out, send it out to 20 more people. Let's get it going. Let's get it cracking. I appreciate you guys. We got a great show for you guys tonight. We are going to discuss Black Fatherhood in view. We're going to put Black Fatherhood in view. Now, I'm going to, as usual, I am going to discuss two issues, right, that have to do with Black fatherhood. Two issues that I think are interesting. The first case is Mr. LeBron James and his son, Bronny James. Really, you know what? Not even LeBron James. I mean, not even Bronny James. Mr. LeBron James and Mr. Stephen A Smith. Now, I'm going to show it. Uh, there's a clip of LeBron James speaking to Stephen A. Smith. Excuse me, LeBron versus Stephen A. Smith. LeBron had some words for Stephen A. Smith. I think it was something like "Keep my son's name out your mouth." Keep my son's name out your mouth. And so, it got pretty hostile. This was at a Lakers game on the sideline. LeBron was walking back to wherever he was going, probably back into the locker room. and he stopped. He went over there and he made sure that Stephen A. Smith knew how he felt, and it was behind some of the things that have been said about his son Bronny. As we know, his eldest boy Bronny James was drafted 55th in the second round to the Los Angeles Lakers, and what that has done, or what he has done, he plays in the G League from time to time. Welcome, whoever you two are. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you say something in the comments, I will absolutely respond. But Bronny James, second round, 55th player drafted for the Los Angeles Lakers, you know, and he's been playing, doing relatively well. I'm gonna show you guys some stats, show you guys what he's been doing, so that you can understand what this is, right? So you have a informed perspective. And some people might be thinking, man, how does this even matter? Well, it matters because these are black fathers. Both of these issues that we're going to talk about today, these are black fathers and how they are now engaging, right? People can teach you two things. They can teach you what to do or what not to do, right? So we're going to learn one of those things here today. But nonetheless, uh, his son is playing with the Lakers, and he's not having the best career. Now we understand Bronny is still young. He was drafted in the second round. And when you look at Bronny's career, his basketball career overall, in general, you kind of understand, right? You're not expecting him to be his father, certainly one of the greatest players to ever lace him up. Nobody's expecting that. But you know, for him to be drafted in the way that he was drafted, the media functioning how the media does, and also LeBron James saying and doing some of the things that he has done, it kind of it's very interesting. Now, my thing with with Mr. James is, hey, or with anybody is, hey, look, what can why do people make these moves? Why do people act in the way that they act, right? What's behind it? And what is the motive, right? How can we understand this? How can we think critically? How can we extract the facts from this before we just jump off the deep end? Because there are always going to be people who are for LeBron, who are going to praise everything. He can do no wrong, right? And that can cause you to be blind to facts, right? But there are also going to be people who do not like LeBron, and anything he does, they will find fault in. So we're going to look at that as well. Now, also, the second thing, and I'm going to pull this stuff up while I'm talking to y'all. The second thing is Dr. Umar Johnson, right? Dr. Umar Johnson. Recently, his daughter came out, and a young lady who says she's his daughter, she came out and said, hey, listen, my father is Dr. Umar Johnson. I'm looking to, you know, I'm looking to connect with my sister. I'm not trying to now make him look any kind of way, but he has been ducking me and dodging me, and I don't appreciate. No, she didn't say I don't appreciate it. She said he's been ducking and dodging me. I'm trying to get in contact with my sister, but he has not been a stand-up father. She claimed that he hadn't been in anything. She claimed that he just wasn't there, right? And so, of course, Dr. Umar Johnson is a very, very visible and accessible personality in the community, right? He has a large following. He calls himself King Kong Consciousness. I think that's his website. He calls himself the Prince of Pan Africanism. I know these are titles that he has given himself, or that he goes by different monikers. And he also has been working diligently to create the FDMG, the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey School in Delaware. I want to say it's in Delaware. Yeah, it's in Delaware. And so that's how we know him. And he's also a child psychologist, and he is absolutely a a personality. He's a very informed lecturer. He is a very intelligent brother. He's held several positions in the field of education. Right, he's been a principal. He's been a teacher. He's been now he's a psychologist, a child psychologist who is now an entrepreneur building a school. And so that's how we know Dr. Umar Johnson. Now, also, Dr. Johnson has said some pretty, he has some very controversial views on different topics that are related to Black people, right? Number one, the thing that comes to my mind right off the bat, and forgive me because I'm inviting people as I'm talking to you guys, right? The first thing is his view on interracial dating, right? He's been ardent and adamant about being against interracial dating, right? I.e., black black people with white people. And he comes across a little bit stern with the brothers, more so than the women, right? He can be very stern with the brothers, so much to the degree that it can get antagonistic. Some would say he's antagonistic in dealing with brothers and how brothers relate to sisters. That's one thing. Um, he also is known for being hypercritical of different personalities, different media personalities. In fact, he was hypercritical of LeBron James a while back. His school, LeBron James, I think he has a charter school in Akron, I want to say, and they discussed it. And you know, Dr. Umar kind of lit into him. He kind of alluded that that wasn't really something that he could control. It was funded by others outside of the Black community. And so, therefore, it wasn't really a clean or authentic Black owned or Black run effort. LeBron was almost just a front man, right? It was still funded by the government, i.e., it can be controlled by the government. And last, I think a lot of people know Dr. Umar for this is his views on homosexuality, right? There have been several videos of Dr. Umar uh, speaking to crowds, lecturing crowds, dealing with you know the mental health space that you have to be in to be a or the history. Let me say this: the history of mental illness and homosexuality, right? Uh, peace, peace, bravo. I see you. I see you. Peace, peace. Hey, welcome, welcome. Yeah, man, I got a great show lined up for you, big brother. Make sure you comment and make sure you inviting people. Make sure you cause I'll shout you out and I definitely respond to whatever you respond to that I'm saying. So thank you, thank you. But yeah, he's had some very interesting things to say about mental homosexuality and how it relates to mental illness, right? And he came with nothing but facts. Dr. Umar came with nothing but facts. And so you have to appreciate that about him. So, obviously in the time that we live in, people are people are upset. People really don't appreciate some of the things that he has said, right? They don't like a lot of the things uh that Dr. Umar has said, the different things that he's lectured about, especially in the time when people were fighting so ardently and fighting so hard for the rights of homosexuality, right? For the rights of the LGBTQ. He's made it really plain that the LGBTQ plight is not the same nor as intense as the Black struggle and the Black plight, right? And of course, these quote unquote radical perspectives that he holds, it can cause people to now want to see his downfall, right? Also, him even having the gall or the audacity to build in the name of a Frederick Douglass or Marcus Garvey, this would cause him to catch a whole lot of flack and to catch a whole lot of angst. So, I say all that to say when when these when these accusations are made, right, by this young lady who apparently is his daughter, when these accusations are made, um, you know, people are now saying, "Wow," they are responding in a way that's like, "Bruh, what's going on with this? For you to be such a criticizer, a person who comes down very sternly on these people, uh hey, what's going on with this?" And so yeah. But so yeah, we're gonna just discuss, Dr. Umar and what's going on with that. And we're gonna get into, I'm gonna show you guys a little bit of what's going on. I'm gonna show you guys a bit of okay. Yep, yep. That's my big brother. Okay. Now, thank you for clearing that up. Thank you for clearing that up. That was my brother. But So I'm going to show something. I'm going to show The Pivot. I don't know if you guys know or have ever watched The Pivot. It's a great show. It's a great podcast. They have been almost, it seems like they like syndicated. They've had some wonderful guests. One day I'll get there, talk to those brothers. But on The Pivot, they discuss the whole LeBron thing. We're going to start with the LeBron thing, with the LeBron and the Stephen A. Smith debacle. But they discuss it and they put it in a context. But they say something. They say something that I thought was interesting. And they say something that really represents the Lead with Logic brand. So I'm gonna pull that up because they get into it. And it's not long at all. I might let you guys see it. I might play it in its full. It's about 8 minutes. But they really get into how we are to think and how we are to respond, right? If we're trying to be people who deal with freedom, justice, and equality, right? If we're trying to deal, here it is. If we're trying to deal with people as a people who deals with freedom, justice, and equality. Yeah, so I'm gonna put that on real quick. And how long is it? How long is it? I don't think it's that long. Here we go. All right, yeah, here we go. So this is the Pivot podcast. It's a dope podcast, y'all. Y'all should check it out. But what he says is interesting. Now, let me set this up. They're talking about, like I said, they're speaking about, these are former athletes. These are former NFL players. I want to say all these, Ryan Clark, all these guys played in the NFL. And so they know sports. They have a general knowledge. They have an expertise in football, but they probably have a degree of expertise, at least a overall better knowledge than the average person would about sports, about basketball anyway. But they're discussing their take because they have now seen what happened with LeBron and Stephen A. Smith on the sideline. But what he says about what the brothers getting ready to articulate about how we are to engage knowledge is the epitome of what I try to do here at the Lead with Logic in my life, but also certainly on the Lead with Logic podcast. Y'all check this out.
He's not off limits.
That's what I'm saying, off limits. And I thought about this with Arch Manning at Texas, with Peyton and Eli's nephew and all, you know what their daddy did, you know what his granddaddy did. Now he is a face of football. He's about to be the face of one of the biggest organizations in football. Why can you not critique them? Nobody attacked Myles Garrett's kid. I don't even know if he has children. They're babies. Now, how can you look at this professional athlete, which Bronny is? I see him sitting on the bench where he should be. Sorry, Bron, where he should be. And Stephen A is saying exactly what everybody thinks. That's the thing I hate. And that's why I think, honestly, like that's my media career, saying like, oh, Crowder gonna say what people ain't thinking about. I've heard, and the one thing I love about Ryan, he knows this, is that you're going to say what you feel, and then if that human being walks up on you, you're going to justify it in a very articulate, fact-filled way.
Yeah.
And Stephen A can do that with Bronny, and that's what I'm saying. Man, I have no problem with Bronny. Bronny want to come down to Miami head to Tootsie's. We will ride and have a good time. But Bronny, you should not be in the NBA. He's not made like that. You're not your father. LeBron and Luka right now got LA rolling. They got whooped the other night. Yeah, but they're not that way. And it's funny, the Lion thing, LeBron needs to protect his kids. There's a kid, and then there's a professional athlete that's making millions of dollars a year that should not be making that. And that's my point. I have no personal problem with Bronny James, but his dad got him on a league and in a team that he should not be playing for, and I'm on Stephen A's side 100%.
You guys are correct, man. And one, I would never compare myself to LeBron James and what.
Yeah, what he said when he said, I know if the person comes up to you and they confront you about what you said or how you feel, you can, in an articulate way with facts, back up what you're saying. That is the whole premise of to lead with logic. It is to be able to stand on whatever your truth is, whatever your square is, as a scientist, meaning back it up with facts. As a mathematician, back it up with facts. Because see, at that point, people cannot fight. They're not fighting with Brother Faheem. They're fighting with the facts, the science. And some people, brothers and sisters, will try to do that. There will be those that even, they'll have something to say about the facts, right? They'll say, well, whatever, my grandfather, I always say this, my grandfather used to say, some people's grandson will argue with a stop sign. And they will. They absolutely will. And so, yeah, that's what we try to do here. But you heard what he said. He said, listen, uh Bronny doesn't deserve to be in the NBA. So what we are going to do is we're going to look at some stuff. We're going to look at some stuff. We are going to look at some stuff about Bronny so that we can get into the weeds, because I want people to see, before you guys go into judgment about LeBron or about Stephen A, because Stephen A is a polarizing individual as well, right? Stephen A is not necessarily a guy that I align with oftentimes. Stephen A can say some things that I don't know, they can be viewed as a little on the extremely conservative side. You dig? He can say some things. He can take some stances. He can take some stances with some people or against some people, and I say to myself, I don't understand why he needed to go that far. Right? That was kind of unnecessary. But so I say that to say I'm not the guy who is a huge Stephen A fan, right? I'm not a huge supporter. He can come across as one of the New Yorkers who can just be loud and obnoxious, right? That's not to say that all New Yorkers are like that, but certainly some of them can be, and he can exemplify that. But yeah, but let's look though, right? Let's look at Bronny James. Let's look at Bronny James, his whole career, right? I'm pulling up stats, right? Because I want us to see who this kid is. Now, mind you, Bronny James has been in the public's eye. When you are Michael Jordan's son, when you are Allen Iverson's son, when you are Michael Jackson's son, and you go into that field that your parent or your father went into, that's a heavy burden, Jack. That is a heavy, heavy burden. So that comes with scrutiny, you guys. That this comes with scrutiny. We understand this. It is not going to come without scrutiny. That's just the way of the world. And guess what? It comes with a lot of hate too. It comes with a lot of hate because I remember watching the Fab Five 30 for 30. And they interviewed Jalen Rose. Now, Jalen Rose is from the hood in Detroit. Father was an NBA legend who he did not know. And I want to say he died before he could really get a bond built with him. They were in talks from what I remember, but they really didn't get a deep bond. But nonetheless, they got to the part of the 30 for 30 when they talked about Duke, right? When they talked about Duke and what players thought about Duke. Well, a lot of players felt like the Duke players were entitled. They felt like Duke players were soft. They felt like the Duke players were a type of player that really wasn't connected to black culture, right? And when Jalen described Grant Hill, he said he was kind of sour at the fact that Grant Hill came up with the life that he came up. He resented that Grant Hill's dad was in the, football league and his mom was so affluent. And his mom then had to, bust her hump, right? So this shows what I'm trying to show you guys. I'll give you the context is when you are even a professional athlete with a degree of comfort, when you are the child of that, there are going to be people just by right of they have to struggle. They're at the opposite polarity. You have to be ready for that mentally. You have to mentally be ready for that, brothers and sisters, because it's going to be people that hate you and it has nothing to do with you. Not a thing. It has not a thing to do with you. So I say that to say that Bronny James, excuse me, Bronny James, uh, Bronny James has to be ready for these things. Now I'm gonna pull something up. I'm trying to pull up. I'm trying to pull up this kid's stats and what happened. I want you guys to see for yourself. I want you to see I want you to see what happened, right? How he got to where he got to, or at least what's documented, right? This is not he say, she say. This is what has been uh after what I had a good I had a good welcome. Hey, I see it's 4 of us. That's a good thing, y'all. That's a good thing. And I'm still sending out uh notifications so people could come in here. I want y'all to see his Bronny James. Welcome. Y'all don't go nowhere. What I'm doing is getting the stats. Yeah. I want y'all to see Bronny James' stats. We are discussing the confrontation between LeBron James and Stephen A. Smith. Because before you guys make an assumption, before you guys say Stephen A was wrong, before you guys say I understand where LeBron was coming from, I want you to see in black and white what it is that we're dealing with here, right? What exactly we're dealing with. So, all right, let me share this. Now we're gonna share this. What's going on, Wise? I see you. Now we just going back. We doing the knowledge, right? I'm going back to when it started with Bronny, right? So my service is getting nervous. Service is getting nervous. I'm trying to pull these. Hopefully it'll pull up. It's getting ready to pull up. Give me 1 second. Yeah, but we're gonna go back to the beginning, right? Because what Stephen A. Smith was saying was, hey, I feel LeBron was wrong. Stephen A. just doing his job. Hey, we're gonna see. We are going to see, right? We are absolutely gonna see. That's what I'm here to show. At least we can see some documentation right behind it. And so we won't have to guess or anything like that. All right. So here we go. Now this is when Bronny was in high school, right? So it says Bronny James is finally a 5-star recruit, according to the On3's basketball recruiting rankings. The upgrade comes less than 24 hours after LeBron James tweeted that his son is definitely better than some of these cats I've been watching on League Pass today. Tuesday afternoon, James' stock skyrocketed. He now has a 98 score and is the number 2 ranked combo guard and 9th ranked nationally by On3. The 6'3", 190 prospect has offers from several blue blood programs from around the country. According to Oregonian, James has lowered his options to a top 5 or 6, including Oregon, Ohio State, and USC, with the Buckeyes the overwhelming favorite to land his services. Go figure. Thus far, On3 is the only outlet, pay attention, to give James a 5-star rating. He remained a 4-star for 247 Sports, ESPN, and Rivals, each having him as the 8th best guard in the class, right? So we see now how his father hyping him up has been helping him. And by the way, this is not an expose against LeBron, against Bronny, against Stephen A. Smith. These are just the facts to give you context as to what was said and why it was said, right? Even with the brightest of spotlights on him, Bronny continues to grow in his game. Shaw said of Bronny's 18 spot jump, he entered Sierra Canyon as a freshman and arguably as the most famous high schooler in sports. The fame has followed him and even continued to grow, but so has Bronny's game. Now, Bronny, I'll say this. Okay, it says, although Bronny's pre-professional career has not been viewed in the same spotlight as his father's, he is still heir to the James throne, and the shoes to fill are huge. Let me say this. Bronny James was a McDonald's All-American. He was one of the only, I think he might have been the only, I'm not sure, don't quote me, I have to look at the stats, but he was the only high school All-American to average only 14 points a game. Right? So that's one thing, right? That was how his stock jumped up. His stock jumped up, right? Because we saw where before that he was a 4-star guard, and only one of the outlets that report on talent bumped him up to a 5-star guard, right? Okay. And so now remember, Bronny also has a heart condition. He has a heart condition. He had something going on at I think he fell out when he was practicing at USC, I want to say, and that stopped him from playing, right? That stopped him from playing. Now I'm gonna show you some stats from Bronny. I'm gonna show you some of his stats. I'm gonna show you some of his brother's stats. I'm gonna let y'all see. This is, and I'm trying to make this quick. This is in the G League. The G League is like a developmental league for you guys who are not sports basketball people. It's the NBA's version of junior varsity. If y'all know high school basketball, you got the main attraction, right? Which is the varsity players. And then you have the junior varsity, which are the guys who are working up to varsity. They might not be strong enough. They might not be fast enough. They just might be underclassmen that need a little bit more work because they will be the future. They'll be taking over those spots on varsity, but they're not quite ready just yet. So in the G League, Bronny is averaging 21 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and yeah. So yeah, These are his stats for the South Bay Lakers. He's a guard. He's doing very well. He's doing very well. Very, very well. Right? Very, very well. And that's good. That's great. Now, I want to show y'all this, right? Let's look at this. Let's look at his stats in the NBA. Again, I'm going to show y'all something. I'm going somewhere with this. I'm going to show y'all what was said so y'all can make your own decision. I'm going to show y'all what Stephen A said. All right. So here we have. Now, here go LeBron, or excuse me, Bronny's NBA stats. 1 point per game, 1 rebound per 0.4 rebounds per game, 0.4 assists per game. Yeah. So this is what he's doing when they pull him up. So, I mean, I'll let you decide whether or not he's ready for that big stage. Now, again, a lot of people are saying things like, well, Bronny he was drafted number 55 in the second round. You know, would they be giving another second rounder this type of would they be getting this type of recognition? Would they be getting this type of criticism? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But the flip side of that is you wouldn't have leverage for other teams to skip over him either, would you? Another team could have took Bronny, right? If his father had in the play where the Lakers organization said, hey, look, we are going to manipulate and move blocks like Tetris in order to line up in a straight line and get this kid on the roster. So absolutely, you could make the argument that he's getting a lot of this angst and criticism due to who his father is. But you could also, on the flip side of that, say he's getting a lot of the privilege that he's getting because who his father is, because we've seen where he averaged 14 points in high school, right? He was a McDonald's All-American. He was ranked as a 4-star in high school, right? His father made a statement, and now he is a 5-star. And by the way, this is the last thing before I go into the video. This is the last thing that I want to show you guys. Well, the last two things, and then we're gonna hear from Stephan A Smith about we're gonna hear what he's saying, what was actually said. So check this out. Right here. My last year will be played with my son. Wherever Bronny's at, that's where I'll be. I would do whatever it takes to play with my son for 1 year. It's not about the money at that point. So this right here is telling the Lakers and the league, listen, if you want me on your squad, you better look at my son. You better look close at my son, because I'm trying to end this. I'm trying to pass the ball to my son at the very end. That's what I want to do. And I showed you guys the tweet that he tweeted out where he said, man, Bronny definitely, let me show y'all. I can show you better than I can tell you. I'm from Missouri, the show me state. This is what LeBron sent out. Man, Bronny definitely better than some of these cats I've been watching on League Pass today. Shit, lightweight, hilarious. These are the words. These are the statements that LeBron made, that the King made. Now, let's go to Stephan A Smith so you can see exactly what Stephen A was saying, right? I want y'all the witness. We call Stephan A Smith to the witness stand so he can break down what it is, right, that he was trying to convey. because I said, wow. When I looked into it, I was like, ooh. And this is all, again, this is all Black fatherhood in view, right? This is all considering or observing two fathers and how they engage with their children, right? That's what this is. That's exactly what this is. So let me pull up this clip of my man Stephan A Smith where he goes into what this is and why this is happening the way it's happening. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. My brother E is in here. Yes, sir. Peace to the God. Let's go. Let's go. I'm pulling this up. I'm gonna pull this up. Here we go. Here we go. Hold on. All right, here we go. Now my thing with LeBron, my thing with with LeBron acting as the way he was acting was this. If he had said something, that was below the belt, or if he had said something that was outside of the scope of basketball, then I could absolutely understand where LeBron is coming from. Any father would get huffy or puffy, right? Any father would. But now, when you scan all of the conversations that Stephen A has had regarding Bronny James, he's never ever once said anything that was not true about Bronny James. He's merely said, "Hey, y'all are bringing him along a little bit too fast," and it seems to be at the behest or at the doings of his father, at LeBron James. LeBron seems to be behind this, right? So check out what Stephen A has to say.
Welcome back to the Stephen A Smith Show. Now let's go to Philadelphia, where Bronny James last night played his most minutes by far in an NBA game last night as the Lakers lost to the 76ers 118-104. Bronny was held scoreless in 15 minutes and struggled guarding Sixers star Tyrese Maxey. Before I get to my thoughts, please take a listen to Coach J.J. Redick and what he had to say about Bronny's performance last night. Take a listen.
I maybe put him in a tough spot, flying up yesterday and, nationally televised game and Philly, all that stuff. It's, he didn't play well, but he's been playing great, in the Stay Ready games, and he's been playing great in the G.
I was on First Take, my day job on ESPN earlier this morning, and I spoke about this, and I felt the need to elaborate even further because a couple of people text me and pissed me off, and they know who they are. People close to LeBron James talking to me about questioning him as a father. Come on, y'all. I mean, it's gotten to a point where this LeBron sensitivity is just beyond the pale. You call him the second best player in the history of the game, you're insulting him because you said he's not the GOAT. You're saying that at age 40, we've never seen anybody do what he does, but pointing out at times how he may not have hustled back on defense in a key pivotal moment, and that's a problem. You give him all the praise in the world when he drops 40, but he has a bad night, and you say he had a bad night and you're hating. It's ridiculous. But never before has it been more ridiculous than it is right now, because the reality is that we got to be real about what we're seeing when we talk about Bronny James. I am not a person that had a problem with Bronny James being on the court for the season opener with LeBron James. That was a phenomenal moment to see a father on the court with his son who has NBA aspirations playing together for the first time in NBA history. The Griffeys in baseball, Ken Griffey Sr. and Jr. were in attendance for it. It was a special moment. My position has always been that should have been the only moment we saw Bronny James in a Lakers uniform this season because he's not ready. I'm not here to tell you that he won't be ready. I'm not here to tell you that he won't be an NBA player. I'm not here to tell you that he should give up his dreams and his aspirations. I think the kid's got potential. I think the kid will be in the NBA one day. I watched him in the G League doing this thing. I think he's going to be fine eventually. But that's not the case yet. And because it's not the case yet, and then you see some of these numbers, I do find myself looking at LeBron James instead of Bronny James because LeBron is the basketball savant. LeBron is one of the top 2 greatest players in the history of the game. LeBron has forgotten more basketball than most people would know. So no matter what we think about Bronny, he knows more. But you see what you see. Bronny James has played in 13 NBA games. Ladies and gentlemen, he's averaging 0.3 points, 0.3 assists, and 0.4 rebounds. He shot 1 for 16 from the field in his NBA career and 0 for 7 from three-point range. And he's playing in the first quarter of an NBA game? Really? And everybody wants to look at it, and LeBron has nothing to do with that. He didn't tell J.J. Redick to put him in the game. I get all that. But come on. I'm not being cruel to Bronny. I'm looking out. Do you want it this way, LeBron? Do you want it this way, Rich Paul? Do you want it this way? He can't go into the G League and average 20, 25, and stay there until he's ready? Because he's LeBron's son, you know how they're going to judge him. And before anybody wants to jump on me, remember, I never saw Bronny James play until he showed up in the NBA and the G League. I refused to watch him because if I watched him, I would have to talk about him. And I didn't want to talk about LeBron James' son because I thought it was so unfair to the kid. He's such a wonderful kid, wonderful family. I don't want to hear me talking about questioning LeBron James' fatherhood. How many times do I have to rave about LeBron James? On ESPN, I put up a ticker. Great father, great husband, great philanthropist, great businessman, great actor, great producer, great director. Great. How many times have I said that? I'm simply saying, yo, he's not ready yet. And to put him out there, getting him exposed to that is really hard to watch. When Kobe Bryant was a rookie and shot those air balls in that closeout playoff game against the Utah Jazz, people would talk about he wasn't ready for the moment. And I thought it was unconscionable what Coach Del Harris at the time did to him by throwing him to the wolves because he got frustrated because Kobe kept talking about how he's going to end up being the greatest ever because he was chasing Jordan and they got tired of hearing his mouth and his bravado. And he threw him to the wolves very unfairly, which I think is something that ultimately ruined Del Harris because he shouldn't have done that. But nobody questioned whether or not Kobe Bryant belonged in the NBA. Nobody questioned that. With Bronny James, they're questioning it. Because there's no collegiate career to speak of because he had the health issue and never really did anything at USC in his only year there. And he ends up getting drafted 55th overall. And I don't care about the money that he's going to end up making. Like he'll end up making over a span of a couple of years, $8 million, while the other 55th pick from the year before that probably made about 800,000. The hell with that. LeBron James is underpaid. LeBron James is underpaid. He should get paid much more than he's getting paid. And any money that he could get for his son, he could get for Rich Paul, he could get for anybody, he should get, because he is underpaid with what he means to the NBA. I don't care about the money. I care about what the kid is being exposed to. With LeBron James' mystique hovering over him. 0.3 points, 0.3 assists, 0.4 rebounds. 1 for 16 shooting overall, 0 for 7 from three-point range, 13 games. There are millions of kids out there starving to play in an NBA game that are more qualified than his stats show. And what I'm saying is, if you see a son being exposed to things they may not be ready for, when do you wrap your arms around them and say, all right, now's not the time? I used the boxing analogy on First Take earlier today. And I used Marvis Frazier.
I'm going to stop right there. But, you can see other clips of Stephen A discussing Bronny, but it's always in the same vein. It's not necessarily the same exact words, but it's always the same. Listen, the kid's not ready yet. And it's not me because I want to just criticize him excessively because he's low-hanging fruit, because he's a detour, right? He's some kind of slick way to detract from LeBron's legacy. No, that's not it. Stephen A was saying, look, man, you need to go ahead on and let this kid come up. We've seen the stats. He averages 20 in the G League. He averages that. I don't know how current that is, but he averages just a point in the NBA, right? And nothing else, right? And he's having a hard time. And so, them having, Chanel, what's going on? Peace, family. Them having that, confrontation, LeBron getting puffed up in the way that he did was a bit excessive. Let me say this before I go forward, because I'm getting old and I forget my point, because we're getting ready to move on to Dr. Umar. Listen, LeBron James is getting ready to retire. He doesn't have long in the NBA. What's going to happen when he now leaves and that hedge of protection is gone for his son? We're not talking about a father. I'm a father who has protected his children, right? His small kids. Absolutely. Absolutely. But I teach them how to protect themselves so that I don't have to protect them when they're not in my sight. But we're talking about a grown man in a big boy league. And I showed you how all along his whole basketball career, since high school, LeBron has been helping this dude. He's been helping this dude, right? He's been pushing this guy along. Bravo Jones said, I would just like everyone to put themselves in the shoes of these people. How would you feel? Absolutely. Hey, Bravo, check this out. You have to be able to tell your children, you have to have a real conversation with them. Look, you're going into my field, and I'm one of the greatest to ever do it. Don't you know that people are going to never let you be your own person? They will always, always, always see you in the shadow of me, right? They'll always look at you in my shadow, right? The only other athlete that I know of that moderately jumped out of that shadow. Welcome, y'all. I see y'all there. I see that 6 of y'all. The only other athlete that I can think of that jumped out of the shadow of her father was Layla Ali. And Layla still benefits a little bit from Muhammad Ali. Actually, she benefits a lot. What am I talking about? The Ali name carries heavy weight, no pun intended. But it carries a degree of weight when you're talking about the boxing world. Ali, people are going to, that's a draw automatically. If y'all watch the first Creed, there's a scene where Rocky and Adonis, right? Sylvester Stallone and Michael B. Jordan, they go to They go to speak to the promoters who want Ricky Collins' character to fight him. And he's like, look, the only way we'll fight him is if you use the last name Creed. That's it. Now that's a fictional film. That film is fictional, but that's a real statement. We want the clout. People want to be able to say, hey, we beat this legend. If even if it's not the legend themselves, we beat the heir to the legend. Right? So there's great criticism and a great heavy weight that goes with that. And we have to tell our children when we are great, when we do something spectacular and amazing, you will be judged if you go down that path, right? When you look at people like Steph Curry, whose father was Wendell Curry, who played for the Charlotte Hornets. When you look at Kobe Bean Bryant, whose father was Joe Jelly Bean Bryant, who played for the LA Clippers and then went overseas and raised his family. They weren't legendary players. These aren't guys that will be remembered. I don't even know if they're in the Hall of Fame. I don't even know if Dale Curry and Joe Jellybean Bryant is in the Hall of Fame. Now, why is that relevant? Because there was no added pressure on Kobe and Steph Curry to be great. There's no added pressure for them to be great. See, when your dad or your mother and you follow them into the exact same field, there will be heavy criticism. There will be heavy hate. There will be low-hanging fruit. People will be jabbing at you all the time. And not to mention, in LeBron's case, as a black father, you set your son up for that by making these statements, by saying he's better, by making light, right? By saying, hey, my son is better. You guys are clownish. Y'all are hilarious. This boy didn't even average 20 points in high school and he's an All-American. He's bumped up because of what you said. So when Stephan A. Smith now says this is not about Bronny, he's a great kid. This is about LeBron and what he's doing, how he's being impatient with the process. Listen, Cayenne, Anthony, Carmelo and Lala's son, he's going to Syracuse. You don't hear anything. You don't hear Carmelo speaking out. You don't hear him talking about Cayenne and how good he's going to be and what his skills are. In fact, Carmelo has taken, he's like me, right? He's taking a seat back like, hey, he's going to have to do the work. He's got to do the work. That's the best thing that you can do, brothers and sisters, as a parent with a child. Teach them work ethic, right? And teach them reality. As fathers, as black fathers, we have to teach these children. It's cold outside. Maybe it's cold because of what I did, how great I was. You gonna suffer. You didn't create the circumstances, but you have to transcend them. So if we're not preparing our children, and by the way, he's not a kid. He's not a kid as far as legally. He's not a minor. This is a grown man who has accepted the job of being an NBA player. So what I say all that to say this as a black father, I understand. No, I can't even say I understand. Yeah, LeBron was out of bounds for that. He was out of bounds. When you look at all the things that he did leading up to that, he was out of bounds. You put this boy in a circumstance to be criticized. You said he was better than what he was on paper, his stats. And then when people criticize, when journalists do actual journalist work, you run up on them. On the pivot, they said, what if LeVar Ball had ran up on Stephan A. Smith? What if T. Morant, Ja Morant's father, right? What if he had run up on Stephan A. Smith? They would have said he was all kind of thugs and unprofessional and ignorant. Why is LeBron any different? LeBron, the truth is your son does benefit. He does have a degree of privilege, which he will always have because the James name holds weight, especially in the sports world. Just as with life comes death, with those privileges comes a degree of angst, comes a degree of unwarranted and criticism that they may not have accrued. But I would have to agree with Stephan A. Smith. LeBron is placing Bronny in a very, very uncomfortable situation. And now LeBron has shown himself to be emotional. He's shown himself to react when he should have responded. That's something that a young man would do, right? And this is what a brother I was talking about it on X. He was saying he was a young guy, and he said LeBron was behaving as a young guy. He was absolutely right. Hey man, it's no need to get puffed up. You could have called Stephen A. Smith. And those players who are not who have stopped or ostracized, maybe they pissed at something that Stephen A said on another take, but nah, that's no reason to be that way. But hopefully, man, um, hopefully LeBron will learn from this. Hopefully he'll come to terms that his son is a grown man, he's an adult, and we can't fight his battles. Once they step into a man's game, once they step into the adult world, uh, we have to now let them go and let them fend for themselves. We prepare them for what's coming, but we can't now control the weather that they have to fare through. So, next thing is Dr. Umar. Dr. Umar Johnson. This one was very interesting. I'm gonna just go to the video on this one. This one was very, very interesting. Um Again, Dr. Umar is a peculiar individual, right? Peculiar personality. And a lot of people, let me say this, a lot of y'all don't like Dr. Umar because because of some of the opinions that he holds, some of the perspectives that he espouses. It's certain things that you don't like about Umar. But does Umar tell the truth? When Umar, my take on Umar is this: when he's telling the truth, I'm with him. When he's not, that's when I jump off the train, right? But he tells a lot of truth, but he can be a character. He can absolutely be a character. He's not a person. He's not a person that if you go low, he's gonna go high. He's gonna go lower. That's Dr. Umar. And sometimes rightfully so, man. I've seen them ambush Dr. Umar like how they did. Roland Martin had him on TV One a few years ago. Y'all remember that? And they started questioning him about they began questioning him about that school because the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey School is still not built, right? And so people are now saying, "Wow, what is going on?" And that is absolutely people who contribute to the school. They absolutely have a right to. It's one of those things. And the brother said this on one of the podcasts that I was watching earlier. It's just like when people don't vote, right? If you don't vote, I understand how people can say you don't really have a voice. You don't really have a right to criticize who gets up there because you really didn't do anything, right? That's true. If you're not contributing to Dr. Umar's school, if you haven't sent any financial support, if you haven't done anything like that, then what you say really doesn't matter. It doesn't. It's just hot air at that point. You just criticizing to criticize. You are now using this as an excuse to throw rocks at a person that's doing something when you might not be doing anything. But nonetheless, this is interesting. I'm gonna play this. Let's listen to what the young lady has to say. Oh, hold.
He has another daughter. My biological father is Dr. Umar. He has another daughter. I tried to contact him about, getting to know my sister on my dad's side. I asked him if he knows her or if he has her number. He ignored me and never responded. I'm 22 years old now. My dad has never been to anything important, no graduation, no birthday parties, nothing. He has not been in my life. Again, I'm not making this video to bash him. I'm making this video to state facts. Okay? You can't get on Instagram and get on social media and portray to be an activist and talk about how Black kings need to be with Black women, but you're not even in your Black woman's daughter's life. It doesn't make sense. You're being a hypocrite. And it's frustrating because I reached out to you. I reached out to you. I shouldn't have had to do that. I'm your daughter. But I'm smart enough and logical enough to know that you would never reach out to me because you don't have my phone number. And I'm pretty sure you wouldn't try to reach out to me because for what? I don't want anything out of you. I want nothing but a conversation. Forget the relationship. I really don't care too much about that at this point. I just wanted a conversation out of you and you shut me down. You ignored me. You should never be too busy for your daughter ever in life. So I just wanted to make this video to just try to, I guess, somehow find my sister on my dad's side. So if you see this, please reach out to me. Please DM me because I want to know who you are.
6.5 hours later.
Hello, guys. So I just wanted to come on here with a small update. I just got off the phone with Dr. Umar's other daughter's mother, and she just told me that that's her daughter. So, yes, y'all, I found her. I'm going to give her a call and talk to my sister when she gets out of school. So, and I just wanted to answer a couple questions. All that, oh, are you going to show us the DNA test? No, because it's not your business. Why? I don't have to prove nothing to y'all internet folks.
That's a problem. We just saw you say, sister, you not here to bash the brother. You here to speak facts. Well, if you're not here to bash brothers and sisters, this is not just to her specifically or particularly. This is for us generally. When you now want to say, or when you want to prove something to be on the side of the righteous or right, you have to bring some kind of fact. You have to show and prove, right? You can't just if you've ever been to school, you can't just write a paper and say, hey, this is the sky is green because my grandmother says so. No, you need to show some scientific proof. You need to show some sort of reference. You need to have a reference. Otherwise, what you're saying is not credible. So that's interesting that she said that because they're calling her. They're saying, look, we need to see something, right? And I'll say this. Let me reference this. I was having a conversation when Brian McKnight and his sons went through it publicly. He showed receipts, right? He showed receipts where he had been doing things. Now he didn't have to do that because that's not the public's business. He don't owe the public nothing but a good album, a great album. But to get in an attempt to show and prove, right? So that it's not just him talking, he can actually show something. He showed, hey, listen, I've been doing A, B, C, and D, and this is only a product. This is only the result of them now becoming adults and me pulling back my financial and economic support. If you're going to slander somebody, ladies and gentlemen, if you're going to throw dirt on a public figure's name that primarily or in some sense makes money or gains revenue off of their public persona, you have to now show us some proof. You have to now say, hey, I can show this. I can prove what I'm saying. This is not just me being scorned. This is not just me having a problem. This is not just me being spiteful or resentful. So I just wanted to stop it right there because she's saying, look, people are challenging her. People are saying, hey, show us something because these are some mighty, mighty tall claims that you're making.
I know what it is in real life. So no, you're not getting a DNA test. What else have I seen? Why are you coming to the internet with this? I already tried to get in contact with him. He shut me down and ignored me. What else I've been seeing? Oh, you trying to tear down Dr. Umar? No, I'm not. He tore himself down by not building a relationship with his own daughter. What's another question I saw? It's a bunch of questions I've seen, but y'all don't know nothing. That's my dad. I have the right. And that's my sister. I have the right. Clock it.
She does have the right, brothers and sisters. But anytime you go outside and make something public and you bring it to the community, guess what? You have now made it the business and you have now opened it up for the community to have a perspective and a say so. So if you didn't want it, if we don't want things, and this is not a knock at that young sister, this is again to everybody. If we don't want things discussed publicly, then we should keep them private and try to resolve them privately, right? That comes with, I don't know, maybe that comes with a degree of emotional intelligence. We have to understand as adults what we do have, our actions have reactions and consequences and repercussions. And sometimes those consequences and repercussions are the community now has a perspective. And you might feel like, hey, I don't want y'all's perspective. Well, then don't go to the community with the problem, because that's what we're witnessing with the young lady. But keep listening.
A few minutes later.
I just want to say this to all my supporters out there, my true supporters. My true supporters. It ain't that many of my true supporters. But for my true supporters, I want y'all to stay focused. There's a lot of slander going on. There's a lot of lies being pushed out there. There's people trying to use my name to build themselves up. I just want you to be really, really careful right now. Be patient, stay focused. Be patient, stay focused. Be patient, stay focused, brothers and sisters. Y'all know me too well. Y'all know my love for children is too strong. Y'all know me too well for anybody to be coming out the woodworks telling you they've been trying to reach me when my number has been public for 20 years. Listen, brothers and sisters, I want y'all to listen. My phone number has been the same for 20 years. So anybody telling you they've been trying to reach me and my phone number hasn't changed in 20 years, mind you, I speak at graduations in Philadelphia all the time. I'm on the street in Philadelphia all the time. I have events in Philadelphia all the time. I got family in Philadelphia everywhere, and you've been trying to find me? Stop the cap now. Can we please stop the cap, brothers and sisters? Can we please stop the cap, brothers and sisters? But let me say this. The quickest way for you to get blocked or put on the FDMG Book of Negro list, the quickest way for you to get blocked or get put on the FDMG Book of Negro list, shout out to my Stockholm, Sweden Africans. I'm so happy to be in Stockholm, Sweden. I can't wait to take some pictures with our beautiful Stockholm African queens, our beautiful Scandinavian queens. I heard the Norway Africans is coming. We got Paris Africans coming. We got London Africans coming. We got Scottish Africans coming. We got Irish Africans coming. Pull up Saturday. It's going down. Ghanaian independence, King Kong consciousness. But let me say this. Let me say this. If you mind my personal business, I don't care who you are, I strongly recommend you mind your business, because if you don't, you will be blocked and put in the Book of Negroes. Oh no. Oh no. As you see on my social media, I've been blocking people who think my business is their business. And if I block you, you automatically in the Book of Negroes. So take a risk at your own peril. But I will say this. I'm open to the conversation. Where is Mama Smurf at? Get daughter Smurf and Mama Smurf and then Papa Smurf, and we're going to have a nice conversation in front of the world. Let's get to the bottom of this. And I'm going to bring white man paperwork. Oh, yes. I have all of my white man paperwork. So, baby Smurf, please get Mama Smurf, and Papa Smurf is going to pull up. And let's have the conversation. Okay? Okay? Let's have a conversation for the whole world. That's all we got to do. But later for that, if anybody needs to reach me while I'm in Sweden, you can still text me. If you need to reach me while I'm in Sweden, you can still text me 215-989-9858, 215-989-9858, 215-989-9858. Let them drag my name through the mud. I love the mud. As a child, I used to play in the mud. Let them drag Nana Payana's name through the mud, because one thing we know about the mud is all living things get their nutrients from the mud. The lotus flower comes up out the mud. Where does the lotus flower come? It comes from the mud of the ocean, the mud of the river, and it pushes through the mud up to the sun. So I ain't got no problem with people throwing my name in the mud. I love the mud. I love the soil. Didn't God make the black man and black woman from the black mud, the black soil? So let them throw my name in. Let them curse me and mock me. Let them ridicule me and slander me. Brothers and sisters, the closer we get to FDMG, the closer we get to FDMG, the closer we get to FDMG, the more slander there will be. I said, the closer we get to FDMG, the more slander there will be. I said, the closer.
Hey, I'm sorry. That's hilarious to me. But yeah, Dr. Umar doing what Dr. Umar does, he absolutely will hit you lower if you hit him low. And you know, the thing again about Dr. Umar, I agree with much of what he says and I disagree with other things, right? He's still my brother and he still deserves a fair trial, whether it's the trial of the court of law or the court of public opinion. And we understand how black people, black men in this case specifically, don't get a fair trial in the court of public opinion. Now, a lot of people have been saying things about Umar for a long time. A long time. People have questioned the legitimacy of his education. They were saying he wasn't a real doctor. People have questioned the accounting, his books. Where's the money at? And they've also questioned, or where's the money going for those donors, right? People who have sent money in for the FDMG, Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey School. Because it's been, man, I think I was an undergrad when I first heard about it. So it had to have been 2011, 2012 when it first started. When he first mentioned that he was building it. And people, like I said, people are questioning the legitimacy, how serious he is. You know, I don't take Dr. Umar as a person who's a scammer. I don't take Dr. Umar as a person who's a con man. I do take Dr. Umar as a person who may be in over his head when it comes to him getting the building done. And that, again, this is something that I was listening to another brother, and I said, I totally agree with that. Dr. Umar is in a whole lot of internet stuff that he maybe should not be in, right? Because who was mentioned was Brother Randall X, or King Randall, who has the X School for Boys in Albany, Georgia. He started with just a little bit of nothing, and that brother is making waves. Now, you might not hear about King Randall, or you know what? If you type in King Randall on Roland Martin, they did an interview where Roland Martin tried to ambush Randall in the same way that he tried to ambush Umar. But Randall is a conservative. Randall is a Trump supporter. Randall was at the White House with a MAGA hat on, I want to say. He was at least there with the black conservatives. So the liberal media, maybe people in our community, don't push him to the front as much as they should, because he's doing a great and mighty work. Look him up. King Randall, X School for Boys in Albany, Georgia. That dude is, I'm trying to get on the show. That dude is doing marvelous things. But with Umar, with the amount of money, I get it, with the amount of money he gets, with the elongated opening of those doors to his school, he leaves himself open a bit of times. And then with him saying he leaves himself open and vulnerable to criticism. But that doesn't mean when someone makes a claim against this brother or any of our brothers, we should just fly with it. We should try to get the context, right? This will only help us. I realize these are people who have a degree of success. These are people who are abstract, meaning we may not be able to touch them, right? We might not be able to touch them like how you could touch Brother Faheem, right? But nonetheless, it's critical, right? It's paramount that we rectify our thinking so that we can stay on the side of divinity and righteousness. You heard that young sister say, hey, listen, I'm not trying to criticize or get clout. I'm just trying to bring the facts. And then later, when she was questioned about the proof of what she was saying, and Umar has admitted that this was his daughter. So that's not in question. What's in question is the degree of father that he was, what role he played in her life. That's what That's what people are now reacting to. That's what people are saying. He's not good or he's falling short. Well, number one, that's nobody's business. We've seen this, right? We've seen this a few times, brothers and sisters. We saw it with 50 Cent's son, right? That's my favorite. 50 is one of my favorite people in the whole world. Oh my God. 50 is one of I have to do this. 50 is one of my favorite people. He is. But he said something. He said, you don't start seeing these upset claims from these grown ass kids until they're not successful in life. Generally, when people aren't successful later, that's when you start seeing all of these claims of how the parent fell short here and fell short there. Right? This is coming from a man whose mother sold dope and got killed, and he ended up being a huge mogul. Meaning, context, there's no excuse, right? You still move forward. You still put your best foot forward and try to do what you can do, right? Brian McKnight. The big one, the funny one was Kirk Franklin's son. Remember Kirk Franklin's son played that recording where Kirk was going off. And he let the world hear it because he knew that Kirk's target audience would find that offensive because Kirk makes gospel music, right? So for Kirk to be using that type of language would only make him look bad in the eyes of his parishioners, right? But what's the context behind it? Will we ever really get some context, right? How can we get context? How can we know the ins and outs? What do we know about these kids' mothers and these accused brothers? That needs to be looked into, right? As a man who was the product or the son of a man who had other children, I can tell you, whatever the relationship was with them other children's mother, it's going to inherently come through with the child. What do I mean by that? What do you mean, Brother Faheem? If I have 5 children by 3 different women, or 5 children by 5 different women, let's say that. If I don't have an amicable or a friendly or a relationship that's productive, and if there's some sort of conflict there, it's going to bleed out into the child, especially if the mother is immature or even the father. Let's flip it. Let's say the mother has custody and the father is a fool. It's going to bleed out. It's just in this case with Dr. Umar and what we've seen, it's typically men. People come out about men, right? They come out about these men and how they've fallen short, right? So I say all that to say, number one, you wouldn't know, we wouldn't know what happened because there were court orders, there were agreements, there was time lapsed, there were conversations had. That's why Umar said, get mama and papa and let's have a talk, because obviously they know, mama knows what's been going on. She knows what's up, but that's not the world's business. And the second thing, hey man, before we start judging these people again, can we see some kind of evidence? That's one thing that really, that's crazy in our community. We just take shit at face value sometimes. Why? Why though? You can't just tell me it's raining and you pissing over my head. That's what it is when you just take stuff on face value. Somebody pissing on your head and telling you it's rain. How's that? Nuh-uh. You need to show and prove, partner. Then once you've shown and prove it's legit, then all the criticism, then all the condemnation can follow. But damn, we don't like people, right? Whoever they are, if they're publicly successful. And so we just jump on the hate train, right? Without any bit of evidence to back up what we're saying, right? Without any. It don't make no sense. It makes no sense at all. And another thing, a lot of that, some of that is the feminazis, right? It's the misandrists. It's these women who really have a problem with Umar right? And listen, I'm a black man. Umar done said some stuff. I'm like, bruh, what you talking about? Interracial relations. What are you talking about? It's my fault. The plight of these sisters is my fault. Are you crazy, brother? But from the response that I'm hearing or that I've read or that I've seen from some of the sisters, right? And some of the brothers too. I saw it was another podcast that they were going in on Umar. He's a Pan-Africanist punk, he's a hypocritical fool, as just to assume what the daughter's saying without any evidence is true. But it's like people are upset, right? And this is now just another reason to hate Umar. That's really what this adds up to. But I'm gonna remind y'all of something. Y'all remember a year or so ago, 2 years ago, when Keke Palmer accused that boy of being a bad father? Y'all remember that? Y'all remember how some of y'all jumped to her defense only for them to get back together and it to be proven that she was hitting that boy as well? And he wasn't in fact a bad father. Remember that girl, the brick lady? I talked about this. I did a build about this. The brick lady who said that the black men had hit her in the face with a brick and people ran and rushed to her aid and condemned black men without any proof. And then it came out that she had a GoFundMe and she tricked people out of 40,000, 40 stacks, 40 racks, whatever the kids are saying. She tricked them out of that. All because people now took the word of these women, right? Without any type of investigation. That is foolish, brothers and sisters. You shouldn't do that because your son, your daughter could be next. What are you doing? What are you thinking? Whatever you think about Umar, whatever you think about him as whatever you think about Umar as a person of business or lecturer or as a psychologist, it does not matter. He still deserves the due process. He still deserves the fact-finding process. He does. If the brother's guilty, then that's the way justice is. Hey, listen, justice isn't for you or against you. You get what you deserve. But there has to be a process that happens. Y'all don't have insurance, huh? People don't. I be thinking like the way some people be thinking, are they riding horses? Because if you got insurance, when you get in an accident, you don't just call and tell them, hey, I was in an accident, pay me out, cash me out. You make a claim and somebody comes and investigates the claim. Once it's been investigated and proven to be accurate, right, and exact, then you'll get your money. But we don't just give out money. The insurances don't just give out money because you said so. That's called fraud. Everybody in their mama. And some people getting away with fraud, right? Some people setting things up, to get their money, to get their paper. Yeah, Chanel says, well, and that's crazy that it's interesting, Chanel. It shouldn't be interesting because you would think that people had the wherewithal to just show justice to people, right? To show some fairness, to not allow their previous biases against a person to interfere with that person's human right, their natural right, their divine right to have a free and fair trial, whether it's, again, a court of public opinion or a court of law. But I understand it, though. In the court of public opinion, the rules are often chaotic. It's not innocent to proven guilty. It's if we like you. It's if you are a darling, if you are espousing a perspective that we now align with, then it's innocent till proven guilty. If you benefit us, then it's innocent to prove guilty. But if you go against the norm, if you go against the established norm of the day, how we now gauge who is good and who is evil, right? Then it doesn't matter what you say. You're guilty. Yeah, Umar's a horrible father. Look at how long it's taken him to create this school. Yeah, Umar's a bad father. Look at this Pan-Africanist stuff. Yeah, Umar's a bad father. Look at his take on interracial dating. What does that have to do with someone coming out who says that they can't prove and they refuse to give any type of proof that he is what they're claiming he is? It has nothing to do with it. So, I hear you, sister. It's interesting to me. It's just like common sense, man. Like, come on. But I want to show y'all this. This is what I was looking for too. I talked about this. You know, you have to look when you talking about kids and kids getting involved. You have to take a lot into context, right? You have to look at a whole lot. Listen to what Umar says.
One of the big reasons why we don't see more marriage is black men are afraid of what will happen if this relationship goes south. Alimony plus child support, that can destroy your black man. Even if you're middle class, you've got a good income, that can break you down. So if we want to heal the black family, we're going to have to heal that child support system as well.
Have you ever been on child support?
I'm on child support now for my 13-year-old. And I was on child support for my 22-year-old.
See?
Yeah, and
that's where it's coming from. I feel you. I ain't on it though, but
no, remember, I didn't say it should be done away with.
Right.
You follow me?
Right.
They need money. I was put on child support because I didn't marry the mothers of my children. They both wanted to get married. And what I said was, I didn't dismiss it.
Right.
Because I would love to be married to the mother of my child. But your pregnancy is not going to dictate family. What we're going to do is let's continue to date and explore this. If they would have been patient, they would have been married in 12 months because I am that type of man. I couldn't let them know that.
Right.
But they were so arrogant in feeling like I was obligated to wife them up that they showed me their true colors too soon.
Right.
And I saw the type of woman I was dealing with. Not to say that there's anything wrong with them,
right,
but I saw how they were with me. And I said, she ain't the one who can walk.
You having any more children?
So that's a little bit, that explains a little bit of his circumstance, right? It gives just an overview, right? He just said, hey, they showed me a little bit. And again, it goes into, having some context, having some backstory. Yeah, just having some backstory. Listen, it's 6 of us in here. I appreciate y'all, man. I appreciate you. Look, like I said, leadwithlogic.com, leadwithlogic7.com. I done wore this hat so much. Forgive me, y'all. I just love my gear, y'all. It's a white hat with my little logo on it, right? I mean, a black hat. Forgive me. It's opposite day. No, but yeah, it's a black hat, my little tee. But lead with logic on the back. Boom. Leave. I'm gonna put it in the chat. www.leadwithlogic7.com. That's logic. Yep. It's in there properly. She said the backstory is full of what, LOL. Well, I don't know. Backstories, when I look at Stephan A Smith and LeBron, right, I see a black father who overreacted, right? He overreacted. He played his hand a bit too soon. And people will say, well, I understand where he's coming from as a father. I kind of don't, because you're setting your son up to be in these situations. You're making moves in a league, right, where you're setting the deck. And it's nothing wrong. Let me say this. I did another bill on nepotism. There's nothing wrong with nepotism, brothers and sisters. I advocate for it. And more black people should advocate for nepotism. But what happens is we get caught outside. We're not inside of the mainstream corporate nepotism. We get put out of there. That's that whole being twice as good thing, so that you can show yourself acceptable. When we now begin to build our own networks and our own organizations and our own structures, right? When we get something economic, when we get fortified, when we get amalgamated, then we can say, hey, I'm taking Ray Ray over the Harvard grad because that's my cousin, and I'm going to train him up to do the job that I need him to do. Ain't that what y'all do? Don't y'all hire y'all people who are less qualified just because there's a relation? So I'm not against that. I'm not against it at all. But LeBron is not in a position. He's not in an ownership position. He has no real power other than the leverage that he brings as a player, his earning power. He doesn't have any power to say, listen, I'm footing the bills for the Lakers. I own the Lakers team. No. But he still wields a lot of power because the NBA, he's still one of the poster children of the NBA, even at 40. They understand in that business, LeBron James is a cash cow, and they would rather bring his son, who might be subpar athletically and skill wise, they would rather bring his son in there and keep him, give his position to maybe someone who really could contribute or who really earned it and deserved it. They would rather keep LeBron because they understand the earning potential for LeBron is much more. So it's nothing wrong with the nepotism, man. It's just you, black woman, you, black man, you, black child, you build up your own network so that you can have some nepotism, right? So that you can do it the way you want to do it. That's what I'm about. That's what I believe in. Yeah. When I get mine, you damn right. I'm okay. And it's nepotism. That's the name of the game. Capitalism has produced this. Your people play with you, my people play with me. I'm not the mayor. I'm just a player. I didn't create the rules. But no, with LeBron, come on, man. You setting your son up. He has privilege. Let's not get ridiculous. Let's not take it out on Stephen A. Smith. Run up on Skip Bayless. Run up on one of them. You know what I'm saying? Don't run up on your brother, you know. And then again, when you see the clips of Stephen A. Smith, he hasn't said anything personal. Like the clip I showed y'all, he actually stayed away from making comments about Bronny because he didn't want to be critical because he understands his job as a journalist is to criticize. He's criticized Kobe, Iverson, Shaq, all of them, and he's cool with these guys. But he has to make the hard statements. He has to discuss the hard narratives and the cold, hard facts. Right? So that we can kind of see, we can look and see, okay, this is where that stemmed from. We can pinpoint LeBron, Bronny, and Stephen A. That's a little bit easier. But with Umar, you can't pinpoint it with something that's tangible. It's more of those intangibles. It's more of those attributes that people have in their darker nature, right? It's more of those jealousies, those envies. It's more of those determined ideas that people tend to have about public figures. And they utilize any infraction to now criticize excessively or even if it's warranted. But if it's warranted, hey, it is what it is. But that's that man's business, you know. When are we gonna people saying, I'm gonna say something, I'm gonna let you guys go. People saying that he some more stuff or more rhetoric that I heard was that Umar, the way he wrote back, because he wrote a long email back, right? He wrote an email or post somewhere, he wrote something where he responded, as well as that video I showed. They were like, well, he could have done it a different way. And he could have, absolutely, he could have. That's true. Two things can be true at once. But she could have also reached out. She could have kept it private. She didn't have to go public. See, when she made it public, and she made it public in the way that she did, then she opened herself up for the way that he responded. Listen, brothers and sisters, what I tell my children is it's easier to control your emotions than it is to control somebody's reaction. It's easier to control your emotions than it is someone's reaction. If you push someone and they punch you, you ask for that. You ask for it. You absolutely ask for it. Control yourself. Be diplomatic. Lead with logic. Lead with logic. It will help you. It's good for you. Very good for you. And so, yeah. But when we look at Black Fatherhood, when we look at how it's engaged, when we put it in view or in perspective from these two brothers, we can see how different people have different stages of development. We can see where we have room for growth. And I can see that, we still have a mighty long way to go because we are still cleaning our laundry out in the open. We are still using those, and Stephen A might do this as well. He might be guilty. He is guilty of this. We still, what's going on? What's going on? I see you, Dr. Ghazi. Peace, peace. Salam alaikum. God, peace. We see where instead of attacking what is the real issue, we attack one another because we are easy, right? It's easy to kill your brother, your sister, but it's very hard to unite and lock arms and go up against a system that is killing us all, right? We don't want to see LeBron fight with a brother, especially on television, right? And we don't want to hear about anybody who's trying to do something positive and constructive. We don't want to see their children coming out against them, to slander them and make them look bad publicly. So listen, I appreciate y'all, man. It's been an hour and a half on here. I appreciate you, man, brother Ghazi, sister Chanel, Bravo, Jones, Big Wise. Thank you so much, man. Got a lot more coming. Trying to get some more interviews, man. Some more great entrepreneurs doing big things. Dr. Ghazi Muhammad is an entrepreneur who he has his own podcast. He has his own a company where he's a speaker. He's a renowned speaker, a world travel international speaker. And so these are people that might not be recognizable to you just yet, but they are doing absolutely marvelous and paramount, huge things. So trying to get people on, man, so they can talk to the people and spread some more knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Look, y'all, I appreciate y'all. Let me get up off of here, man. Listen, as Minister Malcolm would say at the end of his speeches, may we all meet again in the light of understanding. You guys be cool, peace and love, and make sure you have a most positive, productive, and most of all, peaceful rest of your week. Thank you, brothers and sisters, for tuning in.